Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the important news and editorial that are relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 11th of February. The first important news, that is the discovery of lithium deposit in Jammu and Kashmir. This will help India to cut its import. India mostly 70% of the lithium requirement is being imported. We'll see the detail about other part as well. Second, center to borrow to boost healthcare infrastructure. Third, about Article 105 of the Constitution. This is from the explained page of the Indian Express. Second last, first Sundarban Bird Festival. And the last is an editorial, India's law and order matrix need a reboot. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further delay, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. Starting the session with the first news, that is the discovery of lithium deposit in Jammu and Kashmir to cut the import, something important for General Studies paper 3 under the subtopic, that is conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation, and EIA, that is environmental impact assessment. So what is the discovery all about? We'll see the detail. So the Geological Survey of India, known as GSI. So GSI has reported that 5.9 million metric ton of lithium deposit has been found for the first time in the Salal Himalaya region of Rasai district in Jammu and Kashmir. So the name and place become very important, and the exploration work was taken care by the Geological Survey of India. The total deposit is again important. If you can remember this is 5.9 million metric tons. Now, the discovery of this lithium deposits in Jammu and Kashmir will definitely support India's and Government of India's vision to expand the electronic vehicles market, right? Now, even to cut net zero emissions target by 2070, which government has envisaged during the COP26, इस तरह की efforts में और भी इंडिया को मदद मिलेगी जहां पे ईवी के टारगेट्स और ईवी के मार्केट को एक्सप्लोर की जा सकती है. The latest discovery come nearly after the thing which already some part of the deposition was there in India. So 1600 tons of lithium resources of igneous rock was there in Magrala, Aglapattan region of Karnataka, Mandya district. So apart from this is the new exploration that is there in a huge of 1.9 million metric tons. So this is the image of the lithium. How does it look actually in the, basically when it is explored, or the lithium deposit which is found in the rocks. Now talking about the region, again for map work it is very important. This is the district which is there in Jammu and Kashmir, and the deposit has been found in the Rasai district. So it is located near here. Now about lithium, some basics about lithium. Lithium is a non-ferrous metal that is an important component for the EV batteries and has a huge potential for India to strengthen the supply of key minerals that will facilitate India electronic vehicles plan. Although अगर बात करें vehicles की, even for 2-wheelers and 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers, government is looking forward with the electronic vehicles. Some of the buses has also been introduced by the states like Delhi, Bangalore and Pune. The element has been there. Basically, अगर बात करें lithium के, it is known as white gold, and it uses in items like daily uses. अगर कुछ important daily uses के equipments या electronics gadgets की बात करें, that include the smartphones, laptop as well as electronic cars. Now, efforts towards self-development after the exploration which undertook by the GSI, Geological Survey of India. Now, this will help India and also call for जो import की जाती है lithium, nickel और cobalt की, उसमें भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा reductions होंगी. Currently, India import 70% of its lithium requirement from countries like China and Hong Kong. So this is the ground reality about the import that India is taking with other countries. Now, after this, the self-dependency will increase. Now, the discovery has come amid the government trying to achieve some of the important target. That target include, in terms of इलेक्ट्रॉनिक व्हीकल्स एंड सेल्स की बात करें 30% ऑफ प्राइवेट पैसेंजर्स कार्स में कोशिश की जा रही है 70% ऑफ द कमर्शियल व्हीकल एंड 80% of 2 and 3 wheeler vehicles by 2030, and parts are the efforts to decarbonize the transport sector. So these are some of the priorities of government of India to shift towards the EV and use alternate form of energy. Now the experts are of the opinion that this will push India and other private electric cars by 30% to 2030, and efforts would be made to cut the carbon emissions and tackle the global warming. So sustainability of the environment can again be enhanced once globally for increasing the uses of electronic vehicles and its services. Now India is taking the step forward जहाँ पे self dependent की बात की जा रही है. Make in India, it's not part of that, but actually it's more of a self reliance on its own exploration part. तो chemical element lithium की बात करें, definitely जो China और दूसरे countries से we are importing, this will be reduced, and so far India depend on Australia and Argentina for the lithium imports although. Now India has only a small segment of raw material that is barely satisfying the domestic requirement for the lithium ion batteries. Now after the exploration, it has a huge potential that India will reduce its import and the dependency of indigenous part will be increasing. Now, if you see the part of the lithium deposition, there's a lithium triangle which comprises of the country like Chile and Bolivia. So if you're writing in part of the mains examination, you can draw this diagram, and even the part of the Argentina is there. So this all together amalgamate the part of lithium triangle. Now, reserves की अगर बात करें in terms of countries, Chile is a country which has the part of 9.2 million metric tons of the reservoir of lithium. Reservoirs of the lithium metal. Australia 5.7, China 1.5, Brazil and Portugal. So these are the country with the reserve of lithium. Now spotlight on lithium EV penetrations की बात करें, currently it is 1%, but the target is globally to reach out to 30% of 2030 targets. Now, road to India to net zero emissions or even for the zero carbon emissions via lithium route, how the lithium exploration and even shift to lithium will help to chase the target of zero carbon emissions. So during the 26th United Nations Climate Conference Union Parties, बात करें COP26 की, India has advocated for net zero emissions by 2070. I think most of you must be aware of this target, which is there by India, right? And the government of India has already approved the India's updated national determined contributions, जहाँ पे बात की गई है that United Nations framework के अंदर जो भी obligations है India would be filling, and some of the major target which India is looking forward to achieve is by 2030. The longest is of 2070 for net zero emissions. The availability of lithium would be crucial for such target in future, and lithium is one of the key component in electronic vehicles or electric vehicles batteries according to the World Economic Forum. Now, international energy agencies की कुछ report है, when World Bank has also added on that part. So the report from the international energy agencies reveal that the world could be on a brink of a lithium shortage by 2025 if it won't able to keep up growing with the demand, right? This is what the IEA has reported. And another concern about the lithium reservoir is that it is only concentrated in the certain part of the world. Like 50% deposits की अगर बात करें, it is concentrated in the salt flats of Argentina, Bolivia and Chile, which I have given you at the triangle one diagram. And China, on the other hand, has 60% of the world capacity to process a raw lithium product. So processing is also a very significant for country, which India has not a pro on the part of the processing. Now, according to the World Bank, the minimum of curling minerals that we need to increase at 500% to meet the global climate energy targets by 2050. It's not that easy, but definitely if the potentially work is done globally, the efforts are made, we can achieve the targets. Now moving to the other news, a center to borrow to boost health care infrastructure, something important for general studies paper 2, under the subtopic that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So in a written reply to Lok Sabha, the Minister for State Health Affairs or Ministry from the Health, they have informed the Parliament that the Union government has signed a loan agreement to borrow 30,879 crore rupees to strengthen the healthcare infrastructure from the international agencies. I'll tell you the bifurcations from where the government of India has taken the loan to revamp the part of the health infrastructure. Now, recently, the loan has been signed by the Asian Development Bank. अगर ADB की बात करें, from ADB 300 million, which is 2,474 crore rupees, with Japan International Corporation, that is known as JICA, 50 million, or Japanese yen, which is equivalent to 3162 crore rupees. Now, loan for PM Abhi, that stand for Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Infrastructure Mission. In addition to that, the World Bank has approved 1 billion, that is 8,243 crore rupees by the International Bank of Restructure and Development Loan. तो IBRD की बात करिए, lending arm है World Bank की. World Bank specifically do not lend in personal. उसके लिए एक specific arm बनाई गई है जिसका नाम है IBRD, that is International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Right? This is again an important point, factually important for the prelims examination. Now, the loan agreement has been signed to augment the PMAB, which will be launched, which actually was launched in October 25, 2021, and the outlay was 64,180 crore rupees to strengthen the healthcare infrastructure across the country. Now, financial assistance to states की भी बात की गई है, how the union government will provide financial assistance to state, because if the assistance from center to state is not provided, they won't be able to revamp the part of the infrastructure development. So essentially, the state and UT require the fund from the central government. And the launch of the part will also call for the health infrastructure, especially in, which is essentially required in critical and primary healthcare facilities. So urban areas में अगर बात करें, it's already there, but for the rural area and tier 2 cities, it is essentially required. Now, about Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Missions की अगर बात करें, the Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, this aim to strengthen the critical healthcare infrastructure in our country at several levels. तो इस पे एक hierarchy बनाई गई है, from like bottom up approach has to be there, from village level to block level to district level to again the part of the state level. This is a collaboration that will be there, and the scheme aims to boost the citizen access to public healthcare infrastructure by building facilities for primary healthcare in urban and rural area of the country. Now, कुछ और component हैं public healthcare structures के, very important. I've included this part to give you an idea that if you're writing in mains, specifically in the mains examination, you can incorporate these content that will give you an enriched content for the mains examination. तो 3 अलग अलग areas पे जो काम की जा रही है healthcare sector पे and missions के through. First, aim is to augment the healthcare treatment. How? The mission aims to offer high-class testing network with effective diagnostic and monitoring of diseases. And even the government planned to establish 5 regional centers for disease control, 20 metropolitan units, and 50 BSL labs, जिसे biosafety labs भी कहते हैं, to further strengthen the testing network. Now, there are 3 components to this, as I've told you in the beginning. The second component is about establishing the integrated public labs for diagnostic and diseases. The government ने health और wellness centers को support करने की बात की गई है, with to ensure that there is a timely treatment for the patients, and center will have early detections of the diseases and offer medical consultations, tests, and medicines. In addition to that, the government of India also planned to set up 35,000 new critical care across 600 districts in the country to offer effective care for seriously ill patients. Now, expanding the existing research institutions that study pandemics, this is the third target. And under this mission, there will be a capabilities that will be built comprehensively for research studies in the pandemic, because in a century, India has witnessed such thing. And even to take a portion of that, the science and technology has revamped. Now we need to look into the part how the research activities can prevent us from any kind of future pandemic. So at national level, the government of India planned to establish the National Institute of Oral Health and 4 NIV, that is National Institute of Virology, जो कि अभी पुणे में है, and Pune one is the apex institution in the country, right? So these are the three important segments upon which the Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Scheme will work. Now this is what the outlay is, जो मैंने आपको briefly बताई है, उसकी आप briefs यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं. Either you can take the screenshot. Creation and improvement for long-term public healthcare infrastructure, health infrastructure in East District, comprehensive capacity बढ़ाने की बात की गई है, और total outlay for 5 years is 64,180 crore rupees. Moving to the other news about the Article 105 of the Constitution. This was recently in the news amid the leader of opposition who has raised the questions about the privilege. Something important for General Studies Paper 2 under the subtopic, that is the Parliament and State Legislature, structure, function, conduct of businesses, power and privileges, and issues arising from it. So recently the leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha has said in a written letter to chairman stating that the MPs have a freedom and he did not make any personal allegations to the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. And he noted that Article 105 of the Constitution deal with the privileges and power of the parliamentarians. So there's a debate that is ongoing with regards to the ambit and also how far 105 can be invoked and used so that there's no breach of the powers. Now, what is Article 105? 105 of the Constitutions deal with the power, privileges, and it's checked on the part of the parliament and even for the members of the committee. इसके कुछ component हैं. I'm not getting deep down into the part of the sub clauses. If you want, you can read it out. Specifically, you will Google it. You can get that. But I'm confining myself to some important points. Like the member of parliament are exempted from any legal actions of their statement made or the act done in course of their duty. So these part are exempted. For example, defamation suits की अगर बात करें, it cannot be filed for a statement which is made in the house. अगर किसी leaders ने, किसी MP ने, किसी individual के बारे में कुछ ऐसे बातें कही है which should not be offensive, but अगर किसी individual को उससे भी problem है, तो defamations की case उनके statement में parliament में दिए हुए नहीं कर सकते, right? So the immunity extend to non-members as well, such as Attorney General, and even for the ministers who may not be the member but can speak in the house. In the case of where the members overstep or exceed the contour of admissible free speech, and even the Speaker of the House itself deal with the opponent part of the court, right? So this is something opposite to court, it cannot be dealt, or किसी भी court के matters को या judgment को discuss करना allow नहीं है. Now, is there any restrictions to the privilege? As I've told you, yes, there are some restrictions with regards to the privilege and powers of the parliamentarians. Like under Article 121, the constitutions prohibit any discussions in the parliament with regards to the conduct of judges of the Supreme Court or High Court with regards to the discharge of their duties, and a motion presenting to address the president praying the removal of the judges. So judiciary से related किसी भी बातों को parliament के basically in platform, or even you can say the podium of the platform from the parliament cannot be used to discuss all the issues which is pertaining to the judiciary part. The origin of the idea of privilege of parliament की अगर बात करें, we can trace back to the Government of India Act 1935, which was brought the provisions, and even the power and privileges enjoyed by the House of Commons in Britain as well. एक initial draft की गई थी जहाँ पे ये सारे reference दिए गए हैं. However, India, where constitution is paramount, Britain follow the parliamentary supremacy. And the privileges of the House of the Common is based on the common law that is developed through the centuries through the precedents. Now, कोर्ट की रूलिंग अगर प्रिविलेज के रिगार्ड में बात की जाए, दो इंपॉर्टेंट कोर्ट के जजमेंट्स हैं. वन इन 1970 रूलिंग where Tej Kiran Jan versus N. Nasijivan Reddy in Supreme Court has dismissed the play which filed and follows Puri Sankaracharya against the parliamentarian on the part. And in 1998, the Supreme Court has said that P.V. Narasimha Rao versus State has answered two questions on the parliament privileges broadly relating to the questions of corruption. So if you want to read more about that, you can Google the case, you will find the detail, although that is not relevantly required for examination purposes. Now, there are two questions that is before the Supreme Court. One, whether MP could claim immunity from prosecutions of any criminal court or on the charges of bribery related to the parliament proceeding under 105 or 1051. Two of their subclauses are there. Second, whether an MP is a public servant under the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. The five-judge bench of Supreme Court has ruled that ordinary law will not apply to the acceptance of the bribed in MP in parliamentary proceedings. So this is what the Supreme Court has categorically noted. Now, the other news, first Sundarban Bird Festival, something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic, that is conservation, environmental pollutions, degradation and EI. So during the recently organized first Sundarban Bird Festival, the birders event, wild enthusiast and the forest official has sighted close to 145 different variety of bird species. And the bird first ever was organized by the Sundarban Tiger Reserve divisions of West Bengal Forest Department, where 6 teams were visited in the area of the Sundarban Bio Reserve. In this part of the news, you need to mostly focus upon Sundarban Bio Reserve, which can be the part of the prelims examination. A direct question about the features and significant part can be framed. Now, specific diversity की बात की गई, the specific recorded during the bird festival include 78 bird and 42 species of warder and raptures. A total number of birds spotted during the exercise was 5065. The two threatened bird species of Sundarban and Eurasian curlew, lizards, sand plovers were spotted. So these were the new species that were spotted. The birders were able to spot 15 species of kingfisher that was found in the Sundarban specifically. And a publication which was there in the JDSI, that is the Zoological Survey of India, has recorded 428 bird species in Sundarban, which is 1/3 of the avian species found anywhere in the country. Now, something specific about Sundarban Tiger Reserve. Sundarban Tiger Reserve is one of the initial 9 tiger reserve that was incepted during the Project Tiger in year 1973. Or Sundarban world की largest delta or mangrove forest है. These point again, all this factual point is relevant for the prelims examination. Sundarban was designated as Biosphere Reserve by UNESCO in 2001. Sundarban Tiger Reserve is a World Heritage Site and a Ramsar site that homes to 96 Royal Bengal tigers, and it is a mangrove forest through which the world has a harbor to the tiger populations. Now, just to give you a map of this part, this is where it is located, and even this region is called Mouth of Ganga. This is Bangladesh, which is again adjoining the part, and this is a region of India, and the other region of Bangladesh, which is there. Specifically, you need to confine yourself to this specific region. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, India's law and order matrix need a reboot. Something important for General Studies Paper 3 under the subtopic, like various security forces, agencies, and their mandate. We'll see the detailed part of the discussion. So what I'm going to discuss under this editorial, talking about the theme first. The theme is about the revamping law and order situations. And even the other issues involved in this editorial include the need for in-depth discussions that is required, the law and order management, focusing on selections and skill, and the way forward. So the recently concluded annual All India Conference of Director General and Inspector General of Police, that is called DGPs and IDGPs, right? IGP. So this was there, and this has witnessed a departure from the past where some aspects were also discussed in the way to the public domain. Some of the parts and partial of the meeting has been made to public, and this has also resulted into some part of the chaos and controversy. This has led to an element of controversy over the management of certain issues, that is specifically with regards to the border region. Now, the suggestions has been also made in this editorial. First, we'll see the important initial part. Now, in the present form, the DGP and IGP's conference are relatively the new construct, right? इससे पहले annual conferences of head of intelligence and CIDs हुआ करती थी, which was again conveyed by the central government, aiding on the part of the state government. Now, there's a need for in-depth discussion. This is what the suggestion has been made in this editorial. Now, the 21st century advances, security problems will grow exponentially. This is something amid the changes nature of the law and order. The present situation threatened an oil embargoing characters. कुछ important present theme या futuristic themes की बात करें, the crime that is ongoing. The things has changed to cyber crime. Dark web has started cryptocurrency fraud is reported, maritime security is there, threat from the drone is there, problem that is stemming from unchecked social media is also the new kind of problem that is emerging. Now, there's also an additional to subject. There left wings, extremist and counter-terrorism, drug trafficking, and other border issues are taking place. So, accordingly, we have to change on the part of the things, right? And the lack of adequate times and discussion on this matter in detail would tend to undermine both the quality and debates and possibility outcomes as well. Now, law and order management की अगर बात करें, law and order management at present would be good starting point for this context, because this is something that essentially required for the state government, and even at the central level the law and order has to be maintained in the conditions. So the demand is a combination of newer skills, both technology and crowd management, which is not readily available for the security forces agencies. Now, the attention must be given in the country's security forces that is essentially being devoted to the threat such as terrorism, which has resulted in law and order management, and put these things into the back burner. So we need to proactively see that how law and order management can be revamped with the initial uses of technology and skilling the people personnel with the right approach. Now, there's another part that has been discussed in this editorial is about the focusing on selection and skill. This is very important. See, there's changing nature of crime. So accordingly, हमें उसके accordingly जो skilling है वो भी करनी होगी. The selection of a personnel to the security agencies, especially the police, will require a total makeover. 21st century की जो problems है उसके accordingly ही हमें काम करनी. We cannot rely on the part of the previous generation. So there's a high level of requirement and high level of attention is also required. So police forces must mirror themselves to the society and even look for today's modern anagonistics which is there. The problems हैं उसके accordingly ही हमें काम करने की जरूरत है. Now, for the police security forces, this means that more than mere acquisitions of new skills must develop to a mindset including the forces that cannot answer to every situation. So we need to look into the part where the security forces are that equipped with the the part of the amenities which is there, and even for the part of mental training and the part for the mental regressions, everything should be there, and the selections and skilling in the part of including the test which is required should be there. Skillings में अगर बात करें, नई टेक्नोलॉजीज की ट्रेनिंग दी जा सकती है, which can again help the security forces to counter the challenges which is emerging out of the 21st century's problem. Now, way forward की बात करें, in the present context, there's a very real need to have that we need to look into the part of the security discourse. And there's also a need to bring down the changes in terms of intelligence techniques, investigation methodology, and improving the ground situation. और जिस तरह से DGPs की कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही है, we need to also include the other session, जो कि सेपरेट सेशन होनी चाहिए इंटेलिजेंस और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस स्पेशलिस्ट की, ताकि एक मेथडोलॉजी डेवलप की जा सके, एक प्रॉपर मर्जर्स ऑफ आइडिया का, and the acquisition part is also taking place in the new problem. So if the DGPs and IDGPs which are working on the state government aiding, और IGs और CIDs जो कि मोस्टली सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट में भी पार्ट होते हैं, इन दोनों की कोलैबोरेशंस और आइडियाज की अमेलमेगेशन काफी इंपॉर्टेंट होगी टू प्रोवाइड अ गुड इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी टू द कंट्री. So outcome would also become more relevant in the current and future society needs. So this is how the conclusion part and the way forward part can be concluded in this editorial. Now, moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day. Before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday's questions. For first question, the correct option is B. For second option, the correct option is D. Today's MCQ for practice about the Swachh Bharat Mission. It is a country-wide campaign initiated by Government of India in 2015. It is a reconstruction vision of Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan launched in 2009. The campaign is financed by the Government of India and the state government. So do check it out for the correct option. There are 4 options. You have to choose one of them. I'll discuss the part of the correct answer tomorrow in the tomorrow sessions. Now, the second question is about the revamp project. It's the second question. It's running for the 7 states excluding West Bengal. And this will run KVIC selected locations for a year. So do check it out for the correct option. This was all about for today's news and editorial analysis, followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.